What's up, everybody? Today I'm bringing you a video to talk about whether or not the again buffed QBZ is good or not. The answer is yes and no. So it's kind of similar to like using the Kilo, where it has like no recoil, but it kills really slow. And if you're just looking for a lack of recoil and you want a better time to kill, I would pick the Krig over it. But the QBZ is viable. You will lose more gunfights. People start using this Farah, the C58, and even the Krig. But if you hit all your shots and they don't, you can win gunfights. And it's not like you're losing everything like you would with the QBZ before. So let's go ahead and I'll just show you how it compares to other ARs, and then we'll go ahead and jump back over here and we'll get into the loadout for it. So let's go over to True Game Data and compare it to some of the other ARs. Alright, we're over here on everyone's favorite website, True Game Data, and I've loaded in the QBZ and the Kilo for comparison, Krig for comparison, because these, are the no recoil ARs as well, and the C58 and the Fair, which are my two favorite and still very popular ARs. So if you can see, the QBZ, as we figured, loses to the C58, and it actually shows it beating the C58. It's a little surprising, but this is chest shots. It also shows it losing out to the Kilo early and then super dominating the Kilo long range. It shows it beating out the Krig except for this small range here, and it shows it beating out the Fair for this range here, but that is chest shots. So you look at headshots, and now the QBZ is losing to the Kilo by a little more, but it's getting dominated by the C58, and it's about even with the Farah for most of the range. And once again, it's beating out the Krig all except for this little range, but that's for head and chest. And then you look at stomach, and this is where the QBZ falls off. Now with stomach, it's overall worse than everything except the Kilo past 86 meters. It's worse than the C58 except for this small window. It's way worse than the Krig in this window. It's way worse than the Farah. And like I said, it's not better than the Kilo until way late. And then you look at extremities, and it's about the same. QBZ, once again, isn't beating out the Kilo until way late, and it's losing out to pretty much everything except for the Krig, but then the Krig beats it right here and onward after its first damage drop-off. So nobody's hitting all headshots and upper chest shots. Most of your shots should be going in the head and chest, obviously, but people are moving usually. So there's a lot of stomach and extremities. And since that is a big percentage of your shots, the QBZ starts to not beat out anything past that, which is other than the Kilo, and it only beats the Kilo way far out. I would still use it over the Kilo because the movement's just better. But this is why I recommend the Krig over, because stomach and extremities, the Krig dominates it for the most part. And we'll just look at those two really quick. And you get this picture here, and after the first damage drop off, which is a 46 meters, and you're gonna take plenty of fights past 46 meters, it loses out to the Krig, and the Krig isn't losing out to it by a whole lot here. And this was extremities. You look at stomach, and you leave just the QBZ and the Krig, and now the QBZ doesn't beat the Krig at all. And a lot of shots go in the stomach, especially on moving targets at distance, where you got bullet drop, they're moving, so you're not as accurate, and the QBZ doesn't even come close to touching the Krig there, which is huge. And it's not beating it out a whole lot when you look at chest shots and headshots either. There's this little mix here, but it's not a big gap anywhere. I mean, these are less than 0.05 of a second, these gaps. So it's not a huge gap. And we'll look at the head too. And it's about the same thing as chest, but because so many shots go into the stomach and the chest, and the QBZ gets dominated by the Krig in the stomach, overall, if you're hitting no headshots and no extreme shots, just stomach and chest, you end up losing out most of the time with the QBZ over the Krig. And that's why I wouldn't even recommend it over the Krig. So here I would only really recommend it over the Kilo, but not over the Krig, the C58 or the Farah. But that all being said, we can look at some of the stats here, and the big one is going to be movement speed. If you look at QBZ, it's 5 milliseconds, which is way faster than the Kilo, and a decent amount faster than the other Cold War weapons. All of them have about the same sprint to fire time, tactical sprint to fire time, And the other thing the QBZ has going for it is it does ADS really fast. I mean, if you aren't afraid of controlling a little bit of recoil, you can make it go even faster than this and put the airborne elastic wrap on, and then it's lightning quick, which is an advantage over these weapons as well. The damage just isn't there for me. And since it's an AR, you're not as worried about getting aimed down sights as fast as you would with an SMG. You can hard scope it a little bit more, and so that's not as important. The movement speed's big. If you're in a gunfight, you could strafe back and forth faster, be harder to hit, get to cover faster than people, and that can be an advantage. But it's just not worth the lack of stomach damage, or even the lack of extremity damage. But its bullet velocity isn't great either. It's about the C58s, which isn't great. It's more than the Ferret, but it is less than the Kilo, so it's losing to the Kilo there. And it reloads slower than the C58, which has an insanely fast reload. But it is 5 rounds smaller. But yeah, I mean, even when you look at these stats, unless you just want the movement, I wouldn't pick the QBZ over anything looking at these stats. And you can just look at the damage stats too. Just look at the QBZ and the Krig. The Krig does more head damage. Same chest damage, more stomach damage, and more extremity damage. It just has a slightly slower fire rate, but it shouldn't make much of a difference unless the person with the QBZ is hitting all head and chest shots, and you're hitting no head and chest shots. But let's go ahead and go back over to Warzone, and we'll get into the loadout. Okay, and now we're back on Warzone, and let's go ahead and build the loadout. It's going to be the same as like every AR loadout, where we're going to go agency suppressor for the bullet velocity, the damage range, the sound suppression, and the vertical recoil control. Then we're going the task force barrel for the bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. I like to put the Damascus Elite one on there to get a little gold in there. Then under barrel, we're going to go with the field agent grip, just like always. Optic is like always going to be the axial arms 3 times. If you like the 4 times, you can go 4 times, or if you like the 2 times, go with the 2 times. This is just a preference thing, but this is how I build it. Ammunition goes 60 round drum, same as usual. Avoid the ADS penalty of the fast mag and still get the most amount of rounds. If you play mostly solos or even rebirth, you could go 45 round drum. I have found this is better as a rebirth gun because people need to take less damage, but it's usable in Verdansk. So you go 60 round drum, and that's going to be the loadout for it. Some changes you could make, since this doesn't have like any recoil, and part of the QBZ's benefit is it has better movement, you could get rid of the field agent grip and go with bruiser grip for movement speed or hip fire accuracy. You could you wouldn't go with that because you lose movement speed, but you could remove this even and pick your choice of stock between the combat stock and the raider stock for the extra movement, or you could go with the Tiger Team Spotlight for movement speed and aim walking speed. If you're comfortable with the recoil control, I'd do one of these. The ADS is pretty fast for an AR, but your other option, if you don't want a foregrip, is you can also do the airborne elastic wrap. But just since we're going for a no recoil build, I would stick with the field agent grip. Even though if you don't mind having to control some recoil, it still wouldn't be a lot. And you could change the field agent grip, like I said, for the bruiser grip, the Tiger Team, one of the 2 movement stocks, or if you wanted to go ADS, go with the airborne elastic wrap. But that's how I would build out the QBZ. I've been pairing it with just the MP5. You can pair it with whatever your favorite SMG is. A lot of the SMGs are viable, and so it doesn't make a huge deal. I've been going back and forth mostly between the 2 MP5s. I wish they didn't buff the LC10 so much, but I really like the Bullfrog still, and the Milano's still really good. And then I just have it with the usual EOD or double time if you prefer double time, overkill, and amped. Semtex, you go Semtex, Thermite, or throwing knives, and then I have my usual crutch of my heartbeat, but you could also go stun grenade with that. And that's the loadout for the QBZ. If this video was helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My other social medias are linked down below. I'll see you in Verdansk. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.
Red threat.
By the by. Oh, fuck.
Maybe top prison. They just got lit up.
Yeah.
There's one ghosted up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was you.
Enemy soldier incoming!
Dropping in. One peeking out the window.
Someone go get them.
I'm under fire.
Frag
I'm
out.
gonna take the zip up. Daddy push. Fuck it.
Got gas moving in.
You know I'm here? He's distracted with me.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Plan. Never mind.
Get us.
Bro, I'm just a bot today, bro.
You're getting shot from 2 ways, be careful.
We should head for the safe zone. Go. Tough it out.
Oh, what a shot. I'm gonna self it, don't worry. Oh, another guy. I got third party. Nice. Nice.
There's an enemy team.
Look at my body. By the bot.
I didn't mean it.
Oh my god, that broke my legs, dude. What the fuck?
Shot's good.
Lucky
one.
bitch.
Other one's right here.
Wait for the vehicle fuel. RTB for resupply.
That's me, I think.
I'm hit.
Just shot him out of the helicopter.
Oh, nice. Where's the other guys?
What, this kid's insane! I just...
Safe zone.
Nice.
Fuck yes. I need it, I need it.
Down one.
Oh!
I'm in zone.
Yeah, they're in the hill. Downed one, downed one. Nice.
I'm wrapping this hill so I can go up.
Another one.
Up in prison. Up on hill.
Gas is inbound. Marking new safe zone.
Down here, down here.
Nice.
Coming up purple now, coming up purple now.
Finish. Nice.
By you, Jay.
Yep.
Below you.
He's over here somewhere.
Nice. That was him.
Target identified. Slot.
Copy. Got one down low. Gas, gas, gas. I'm gonna get out in front of him.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Still like 3 more up there though.
Enemy cluster strike incoming. Take cover.
Yeah, I know, I'm here. Down another one on blue. That one here.
Oh my god, how the...
No.